The Udzungwa Mountains are a mountain range located southeast of Dodoma. They are covered with tropical rainforest, mountain forest, miombo woodland, grassland and steppe. The Udzungwa Forest are world famous for their great numbers of native plant and animal species found nowhere else on the planet, and they have been ranked among the most important biological hotspots in the world. The Udzungwa Mountains play a critical role in the local, regional and national economy of Tanzania. This is because they are a perennial source of water. The forests on these mountains serve as water catchments, feeding streams and rivers that provide abundant supplies of crystal clear water throughout the year. This water is the basis for all agriculture and domestic use in the Kilombero Valley. Not only do many thousands of people in the valley benefit from this, but the water from these forests serve 2 hydroelectric installations that provide approximately 70% of Tanzania's hydroelectricity and 52.6% of the country's total energy. The Udzungwa mountain range and its forests attract tourists from which the nation as well as the nearby community benefit.
I am working at Hondo Hondo Tented Camp, which deals with the tourism industry. The company that I work for has employed 17 people from our village. 5 people are security guards, 2 people are housekeeping, and 5 people are working in the garden. 3 are working in the bar section and 2 in the kitchen.
The education sector in Udzungwa area has benefited from the tourism industry in the area.
Our school is close to Udzungwa Mountain Forest, just 700 metres from the buffer zone of the mountain. Being close to the Udzungwa National Park has benefited our school. We have been getting support from Tanapwa through the Department of Good Neighbourhood, also through the flow of tourists who visit Udzungwa Mountain Forest. Some of them come to our school and provide teaching and learning resources. These materials have been very important to our students. One of the tourist camps called Hondo Hondo has agreed to support us to finish the building of one of our classrooms that has stopped due to financial limitations.
The majority of the population in Udzungwa are not native to the area. The area is highly popular with outsiders. A considerable 70.3% of heads of household are migrants to the area. Only 29.7% were born in the village. The increase of the population in Udzungwa area led to the destruction of the forest due to the increased need for forest products. Illegal tree felling and processing taking place deep inside the forest is threatening major water sources which are critical for Kilombero Valley's agricultural activities. Illegal loggers have set up timber factories deep in the forest, making it difficult for the Village Protection Committee to take action against them. Bushfires are also happening in the forest. Much destruction is happening in lowland tropical forests, such as that found in Magombera. This is one of the world's most threatened habitats. Until the latter half of this century, the area where Magombera is found contained extensive forest. However, much of the forest was cleared for charcoal burning, timber and commercial agriculture, requiring the felling of thousands of trees.
For
all the 30 years I have lived here, I have seen a severe environmental destruction. Much destruction is happening at our forest called Magombera. They have cut this tree for charcoal making. After watching us, they have run and left this tree. This tree can produce 12 bags of charcoal.
Also, much destruction is happening in the Ikwambi forest near to Sululu village. In this forest, charcoal production is common on top of the mountain. This furnace is expected to produce 15 bags of charcoal. After the charcoal has been produced, people carry the bags of charcoal in small bags on their heads down to the village. Sometimes they roll the small bags of charcoal down to the base of the mountain. This is the first station at the base of the mountain. The destruction of Udzungwa tropical forest will impact negatively on commerce. Tanzania is depending more on electricity as a source of power in commercial production. The forests of the Udzungwa Mountains serve as critical water catchment areas for the Kihansi and Kidatu hydroelectric installations. These are the two most important hydroelectric installations in Tanzania. Both the Kidatu and Kihansi hydroelectric installations are in jeopardy without maximum protection of the Udzungwa water catchment forests. The option of using thermal energy to generate electricity is economically unattractive because production costs using this resource are said to be 137 times greater than electricity generated by hydropower. The destruction of Udzungwa tropical forest as an important catchment area also threatens the agriculture that depends on Kilombero and Kihansi rivers. Consequently, the large population which depend on this source of water from Udzungwa Forest will suffer. Also, the Rufiji River Valley is dependent on the Udzungwa Mountain forest via the Kilombero River Basin, which contributes 62% of the total annual runoff to the Rufiji River Basin. This basin is the largest river basin in East Africa and represents 20% of Tanzania's entire land surface. Hence, it is estimated that the destruction of the Udzungwa Mountain forest will threaten 3.2 million people who depend on the Rufiji River Basin. Even now, the signs of climate change and a decrease of food production due to the destruction of the Udzungwa Mountain forest can be seen.
Huko nyuma tulikuwa sisi hatujui kwamba mvua zina muda wa kukata.
For the years which I have lived here, we have experienced rainfall all over the year. The Udzungwa Mountain is not getting fire. There was strong grass due to the availability of rain all the time. But after the increase in population, the forest has been destroyed and the rain pattern has changed. For a long time, we have been cultivating maize in April or May because of the availability of the additional small rainfall. Now this additional rainfall has stopped. During that time, there was a plentiful availability of food, such as maize, cassava and rice. At that time, the rainy season was for 6 months and the dry season was for 6 months too, with an additional small rain. But nowadays, the dry season exists longer and the rainy season sometimes exists for only 2 months in the whole year. This situation has caused a scarcity of food in our village.
There are a number of efforts to protect the forest, but still there are challenges which need to be solved.
There is not a stated budget that supports us to stay in the forest for all the time. We come into the forest once a week. The poachers have already studied our timetable and on which days we are coming into the forest and when we are not in the forest, so they come here during our absence.
The WECO group is trying to protect forests by introducing alternative sources of power for cooking. The group is making fuel briquettes and fuel-efficient stoves to reduce the use of charcoal and firewood. The fuel briquettes provide more heat than firewood. They will also save money and protect the environment by removing the need for firewood and by cleaning up rubbish from the villages. The making of fuel briquettes can use rice husks, mango leaves, sugarcane leaves, grass, animal dung and even waste paper. Fuel-efficient stoves are easy to make and save time and money as they don't need as much firewood to do the same amount of cooking as an open fire. I am an environmental activist. Our group has discovered that our forests are being destroyed. In order to protect our forest by reducing the number of trees being felled, the group has decided to produce alternative sources of power to replace the use of charcoal. We recognise that these fuel briquettes will benefit the people of Mangula village and other villages. We make the fuel briquettes from charcoal powder, tree leaves, paper which we do not buy but collect from dustbins. Also, we are making fuel-efficient stoves which use 2 or 3 pieces of wood. The other stoves used by the community consume more firewood, which require people to cut more trees. The Udzungwa group is a group that uses the forest in a sustainable way to provide their livelihoods. The group deals with beekeeping at the base of Udzungwa Mountain.
Na tumeshapata soko Uingereza lita 330.
The objective of the Udzungwa group is to get honey from bees and prevent elephants from crossing the border. The group set a line of wire which stops elephants passing. The wire is connected to the bee box. When an elephant touches a wire, the box shakes and causes bees to come out and annoy the elephant. This causes the elephants to go back and not cross the border.
Tunaihamasisha jamii ijue kwamba tembo ni rafiki hasa wa mkulima. Kwa hiyo anatakiwa ahifadhiwe, asiuawe. Na kwa kufanya hivyo ndio maana tunatumia mizinga kumzuia tembo asiingie kwenye mashamba ya wakulima ili wasiharibu mazao ya wakulima. Na maana akiingia kwenye mashamba ya wakulima wanaweza wakapata hasara ya mazao kwanza, alafu akakasirika baadaye akabuni mbinu ya kutaka kumwangamiza tembo.
Udzungwa Msitu kwa Wote is a group introducing a tree nursery in order to enable the people of Mangula to have their own forest. People are going into the forest to cut trees for timber, firewood and charcoal. The mission of our group is to distribute trees which people plant to get their own timber. People contribute 100 Tanzanian shillings for each tree. We write down their name and make follow-up visits to the place where the tree is going to be planted. The big challenge is that the community have a low awareness and hence do not accept the use of introduced alternatives like briquettes or fuel-efficient stoves and planting of trees on their farms for their own use.
The challenge is a big percent of the community have a low level of awareness, hence they ignore planting trees at their places. They also believe that the trees are enough for them. Education on the importance of trees has not been widespread.
More people are needing bricks for houses and schools. This means an increased demand for logs to fuel the brick burners. If the community do not accept the idea of planting trees to have their own forest, what will be the future of Udzungwa Mountain? There is another alternative to burning logs, that is, using rice husks during the making of the bricks. But these bricks do not seem to be as good. So people still rely more on using the logs in the brick burners. The community claim that the logs used for the brick burning are common from their own trees. The worry is that when the trees are finished, where do they get other trees for this kind of activity? Another concern is that these kinds of activities are carried out along the Kilombero Road, where 500 metres away lies the Udzungwa Mountain forest. So what will be the future of Udzungwa Mountain if the community does not plant their own trees or find an alternative to log burning?